Right now, somewhere in this country, a police officer is approaching someone on a sidewalk. That person has not committed a crime. They are not suspected of a crime. But in the next 30 seconds, they are going to hand over their ID without understanding they had a legal choice. They do not know that in half the states in this country, there is no law requiring them to do it. They do not know the one question that changes everything the moment police ask who they are. And by the end of this video, you will either know exactly what to say when an officer asks for your ID and walk away without giving up anything you were not required to give, or you will keep handing it over without ever understanding what you gave up. I am Ben. There is a moment that happens to millions of Americans every year. An officer walks up to you, on a sidewalk, in a parking lot, outside a store, during a protest, at a traffic stop, and they say the same thing every time. Can I see some ID? Or sometimes they say it differently. What is your name? Or I need to see some identification. And in that moment, the overwhelming majority of people do the same thing. They reach for their wallet. What most people do not know is that the law on this is not simple, and it is not the same everywhere. Whether you are required to identify yourself to police depends on where you are standing, why the officer approached you, and what state you are in. Most people assume the answer is always yes. The actual answer is, it depends. And knowing exactly what it depends on is what gives you the ability to respond correctly in the moment. The legal requirement. The Fourth Amendment protects you against unreasonable searches and seizures. The Fifth Amendment protects you against being compelled to be a witness against yourself. Both of these amendments are relevant the moment a police officer asks for your name or your ID. In 1968, the Supreme Court decided Terry v. Ohio. That ruling established that police can briefly detain a person without making an arrest if they have reasonable, articulable suspicion that criminal activity is occurring. This is called a Terry stop. It is not an arrest. It is a temporary detention, and it requires more than a hunch. The officer needs specific, articulable facts that support a reasonable suspicion of criminal activity. In 2004, the Supreme Court decided Hybel v. 6th Judicial District Court of Nevada. The ruling addressed stop and identify laws directly. The court held that a state can require a person who has been lawfully detained under a Terry stop to identify themselves, and that doing so does not automatically violate the Fourth or Fifth Amendment. But this ruling only applies when there is a lawful detention based on reasonable suspicion. It does not give police unlimited authority to demand ID from anyone they walk up to. This is the distinction that almost no one understands. A Terry stop requires reasonable suspicion. If there is no reasonable suspicion, there is no lawful detention. If there is no lawful detention, you are not required to identify yourself in most circumstances. And even in states with stop and identify statutes, you are generally only required to give your name. Not your ID card, not your address, not any other information. Stop and identify laws. 24 states have stop and identify statutes. Those states are Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, Colorado, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Mexico, New York, North Dakota, Ohio, Texas, Utah, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. If you are in one of those states and an officer has detained you based on reasonable suspicion, you are generally required to state your name. In some of those states, you may also be required to provide an explanation of where you are going or what you are doing. The exact language varies by state. If you are not in one of those states, there is no statute requiring you to identify yourself to police during a pedestrian stop. You are not required to say your name. You are not required to show ID. And you cannot be arrested solely for refusing to identify yourself. Even in stop and identify states, if there is no reasonable suspicion and no lawful detention, you are not required to identify yourself. The existence of a stop and identify law does not mean police can demand ID from anyone anywhere at any time. The phrase, the words you say the moment a police officer asks for your ID are these: am I being detained or am I free to go? That is the complete phrase. It is a direct question that requires a direct answer. If you are being detained, the officer must tell you. If you are free to go, you have your answer and you can leave. There is no middle ground. There is no third option. Am I being detained or am I free to go? Say it calmly. Say it once. Do not raise your voice. Do not argue. Do not explain why you are asking. You do not owe an explanation for exercising your right to ask. If the officer says you are being detained, your next question is, what is the reasonable suspicion for this detention? You do not need to argue the answer. You just need to ask and remember what they say. If you are in a stop and identify state, and you are lawfully detained, provide your name, nothing more than what the statute requires. If the officer says you are free to go, then go. Calmly, without running, in a normal direction away from the officer. Do not linger. Do not continue the conversation. You ask the question. You got the answer. Leave. If the officer does not answer the question and just repeats the request for ID, ask again. Am I being detained or am I free to go? You are not required to hand over your ID to avoid discomfort. The question does not escalate the situation. It clarifies it. Why it works. The reason this phrase is effective is because it requires the officer to define the legal nature of the encounter. Police encounters fall into three categories. A consensual encounter, where you are free to leave and have no obligation to cooperate. A Terry stop, where you are temporarily detained based on reasonable suspicion and have limited obligations. An arrest, where you are in custody based on probable cause. In a consensual encounter, you can walk away. You can refuse to answer questions. You can refuse to provide ID. The officer cannot prevent you from leaving. Most people do not know they are in a consensual encounter because the officer does not announce it. They approach as if the encounter is mandatory. The phrase forces clarity. When you ask if you are being detained, you are asking which category applies. The officer knows the law. They know that if they are detaining you, they need reasonable suspicion. If they cannot articulate reasonable suspicion, they cannot lawfully detain you. If they tell you that you are free to go, that admission ends the obligation to cooperate. If they say you are detained and cannot produce a legal basis, any identification or evidence obtained from that detention may be suppressible in court. The phrase also removes ambiguity from the record. If this encounter ever becomes relevant to a legal proceeding, there is now a clear documented moment where you asked a direct legal question about the nature of the stop. What the officer said in response is part of that record. What they try. Police are trained to establish voluntary cooperation as quickly as possible. They are trained to make requests sound like requirements. Knowing what they say and what it actually means is what keeps you from giving up rights under pressure. The first approach is the friendly ask. The officer says something like, "Just need to see some ID real quick," or "This will only take a second." The word "just" and the word "only" are designed to minimize the ask and make refusal seem unreasonable. The implication is that a reasonable person would simply comply. You are not required to comply because compliance feels reasonable. You are only required to comply when the law says you must. The second approach is the authority frame. The tone and body language make the request feel like an order. When an officer speaks with authority, the social instinct to comply is immediate and powerful. Feeling obligated is not the same as being legally obligated. Your discomfort in the moment is not a legal requirement. The third approach is the implication of suspicion. If you do not have anything to hide, why would you not just show me your ID? This is a compliance technique designed to make assertion of rights feel like evidence of guilt. Asking whether you are being detained is not evidence of anything. It is a legal question. Millions of Americans ask it every day. The fourth approach is escalation language. This can go one of two ways. Either you cooperate right now, or I am going to have to detain you. This statement is designed to pressure immediate compliance by threatening detention. The correct response is to ask what the legal basis for that detention would be. Detaining someone without reasonable suspicion is an unlawful detention. Threatening to do it to pressure compliance does not make the underlying threat lawful. The scenarios. The rules change depending on where you are and what led to the encounter. You need to understand each situation before you find yourself in one. At a traffic stop, the rules are different for the driver and the passengers. The driver is required to provide their license, registration, and proof of insurance. This is a condition of operating a vehicle on a public road. Refusing to provide these documents during a traffic stop is not legally protected the same way refusing to identify yourself on a sidewalk is. If you are the driver, provide the documents. Passengers in a vehicle have different rights depending on the state. In many states, passengers are not required to identify themselves to police during a traffic stop unless there is independent reasonable suspicion directed at them specifically. If you are a passenger and an officer asks for your ID, you can ask whether you are being detained or free to go. On a sidewalk or in a public place with no prior police contact, the encounter begins as a consensual one. You are free to walk away from a consensual encounter. If you ask whether you are being detained and the officer says no, walk away. At a protest or public gathering, the analysis is the same. Police presence does not transform a consensual encounter into a detention. You are not required to show ID simply because officers are present. If you are singled out and approached, ask the question. If you are in a state with a stop and identify law, and you are lawfully detained, and you refuse to give your name, you can be arrested for that refusal in some states. This is not hypothetical. People have been arrested for refusing to identify themselves during a lawful Terry stop and identify states. If you are in one of those states, and you have determined you are detained, know your state's specific requirement. In most stop and identify states, the requirement is a name only. After the encounter, whether the encounter ends with you walking away or escalates further, what you do immediately after matters. Write down everything as soon as the encounter ends. The exact time and location, what the officer said when they approached you, whether they stated a reason for the stop, what you asked and what they said in response, whether they identified themselves, their name, badge number, and agency if visible, what happened next. If an officer detained you without stating a legal basis, that detention may be unlawful. Contact a civil rights attorney as soon as possible. An unlawful detention that results in arrest or evidence collection can form the basis of a suppression motion or a civil rights claim. The sooner you contact an attorney, the stronger your position. Evidence of the encounter exists in officer body cameras, nearby surveillance footage, and witness accounts. All of that can fade or be overwritten. If you were arrested for refusing to identify yourself, do not answer questions without an attorney present. Invoke your right to counsel immediately and clearly. I am invoking my right to an attorney. Do not elaborate, do not explain, do not try to resolve the situation by talking. Wait for your attorney. The complete sequence. Here is what you do the moment an officer asks for your ID. Do not immediately hand it over. Pause. Assess whether you are driving or on foot. If you are driving, provide your license, registration, and insurance. If you are on foot, proceed to the next step. Ask the question calmly and directly. Am I being detained or am I free to go? If they say you are free to go, leave calmly and immediately. If they say you are being detained, ask what the reasonable suspicion is. Listen to the answer and remember it. If you are in a stop and identify state, provide your name. Nothing more. If they do not answer the question and escalate, do not physically resist. Comply physically while continuing to state clearly that you do not consent. I do not consent to this detention. I am asking for the legal basis. Say it calmly. It becomes part of the record. Do not argue about the law on the street. You will not win a legal argument in the moment. The place to challenge an unlawful stop is in court, not on the sidewalk. Your job at the scene is to ask the right questions, state your position clearly, avoid physical resistance, and document everything. After the encounter ends, write down everything and call an attorney. That is the complete sequence. One question, a clear legal answer, and 2 Supreme Court cases that define exactly when police can require you to speak and when they cannot. Most people hand over their ID because they assume they have to. In half this country, they do not. In the other half, they only have to give a name under specific legal conditions. Now you know the difference. And now you know exactly what to say.